Enjoy the ride with Crystal Petrie Consulting.
Hello, my name is Crystal Petrie, and you are watching the Crystal Petrie Consulting Network. While you are here, go ahead, do me a favor, and subscribe to my channel. Like this video and comment down below as you are watching the video. You know, since you're already here, might as well make some use of that time by hitting the subscribe button right now. Let's get into this review. It's a review, I'm going to be honest with you, I did not want to do because it means this is the final episode of Insecure. Forever and ever and ever. Because Issa says she's not doing Insecure again and she's not going to make a movie. So I waited like a week before I watched the series finale, just because I knew once I watched the series finale that would mean that's the end. Now let's get into the final review of Insecure. This episode was entitled, Everything's Going to Be Okay. And I just want to let you know that everything really was okay. So I'm hoping by the time you're watching this review, since it's been a week, that you have already watched the final episode of Insecure. Because there are a few spoilers in this review, but again, it's been a week, so hopefully you've watched the final episode by now. Everything in this episode was based off of birthdays. Birthdays. Now, the opening scene, before we get to birthdays, the opening scene was Nathan and Issa in the car. And if you remember in the last episode, episode 9, Tiffany and her husband were having a going away party. And Nathan and Lawrence got into almost a fist fight at that party. So the opening scene for episode 10 was Nathan and Issa coming from that party. And it was something that I have never ever seen in all of the years of me watching TV. Nathan chose himself. Nathan chose his mental health over a girl, over a relationship, and over Issa Rae. In the opening scene, Nathan breaks up with Issa and he chooses himself. He chooses his mental health. He states that everything that's going on with Issa and Lawrence was just too much for him and it was too messy for him and he did not want to be a part of that. And that's how he left it. And that is, for me anyway, the very first time that I have seen a man, whether it be in a movie or a TV series or anything, choose himself and his mental health over the relationship. Now we see that a lot here lately with women choosing themselves and choosing their mental health and self-care over the relationship, but I've never seen it with a man. And I am going to tell you, writing like this and thinking like this is what I am going to miss with Insecure. Now, once Issa gets out of the car, of course she is upset, she's sad. She goes to the mirror and she starts talking to her reflection like she's done throughout the entire series of Insecure. And then she says to herself and to the reflection, I wish that I could just fast forward through my life where everything is okay. And I'm going to be honest, I have thought those same thoughts so many times. Maybe you have too. Maybe we all have thought those thoughts, that I wish I could just fast forward through my life to the part where everything is okay. and everything is good and I'm happy and I'm not sad anymore. That's exactly what Issa said, and it's exactly what I have thought a time or two. Let's move on to the birthdays. And as I stated at the beginning of this review, everything in this episode was based off birthdays. So the first birthday that we see is Issa D's birthday. And I was very surprised because Nathan comes to Issa's birthday party. And when I saw him walk in, I honestly thought that they were going to get back together. But then I thought that would be too soon and it would seem fake that they got back together so quickly after he chose himself and chose his mental health. But he really was just there to celebrate Issa and give her a birthday gift. And I thought it was sweet. And when Issa and Nathan were talking, Issa stated that she understands that when people come into someone's life, they come in for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And she told Nathan that she understood that he came into her life for a reason and that she had no regrets about him coming into her life, and that she hoped that he had no regrets about coming into her life. And Nathan, of course, said that he had no regrets about meeting Issa and getting into her lift those years ago and falling in love with her. He had no regrets. And I was happy to see that Issa was able to realize that Nathan came into her life for a season, and she was able to acknowledge that. A lot of times we don't know why people come into our life. We don't know if they're there for a reason, for a lifetime, or for a season. And sometimes we get it mixed up and get it confused. But Issa understood why Nathan came into her life, and she was grateful that he did. And that's something that we all can take away from this episode. Understanding why people come into our life. Is it for a reason? Is it for a season? Or is it for a lifetime? The next birthday that we are celebrating is Tiffany Dubois' birthday. And by this time, Tiffany has moved to Denver with her husband. And all of the girls are there. Issa's there, Molly's there, Kelly's there. Everyone's there to celebrate Tiffany. And so, of course, the question comes up, are you loving Denver? How do you like it? And for the first time in all of the episodes and all of the series, Tiffany says, I hate it here. Of course, she used a different word, but she says, I hate it here. And if you are a fan of Insecure, like I'm a fan of Insecure, then you know that Tiffany never, ever, ever, ever says that something is wrong, that she hates something. She always says, it's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. She always says that. And this is the first time that she was honest with her friends and honest with herself in stating that she hated Denver. And I was glad to see it. I do want to let you in on a little, it's not a secret, but I bought that shirt where Tiffany always says, it's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. I bought that shirt and I cannot wait to wear it. But anyways, so Tiffany is hating Denver. She says she still hasn't found a job and it's just really not Los Angeles, to be honest. But then she goes on and she celebrates her birthday and she celebrates being with her friends and having her friends in Denver at her beautiful home, celebrating her on her birthday. The next birthday we celebrate is Lauren's birthday. And this time it's Issa Rae reaching out to speak with Lawrence. And this time it's Issa wanting to connect and wanting to talk and wanting to try and figure out this dynamic between the two of them. But of course, Lawrence has a girlfriend. I mean, Lawrence stays with a girlfriend or stays with some chick the entire series of Insecure. I mean, he always have somebody. But anyways, he was not able to meet up with Issa for his birthday. So there's that. They got off the phone. Lawrence went on a date with his girlfriend, and that was his celebration. Now, if you remember last season, episode entitled Low Key Happy, Lawrence reached out to Issa for the exact same reason, to reconnect, to talk things out, to try and figure out the dynamic of their relationship. And just 1 year later, Issa is doing the exact same thing. Now it's Kelly's birthday, and Kelly is just beautiful and radiant and wearing the heck out of that beautiful green dress with the high ponytail coming down into her face. Kelly was all that for her birthday. And at her birthday party, everyone's there. Tiffany's there, Molly's there, Issa's there, everyone's there. Kelly announces that she is going to have a baby. Yes, Kelly is going to have a baby with her boyfriend, someone that she's been dating for well over a year now. And everyone is super shocked because Kelly never wanted to have kids. And then Kelly says being with her boyfriend made her want to have a child with him. Not just anybody, but with him. And it got me to thinking that when you have great people in your life, when you have people that support you, that love you, that encourage you, that want you to be the best version of yourself, it will make you do things that you thought that you would never ever do, just because of who that person is in your life. And in this case, Kelly wants to have a baby with the man in her life. And at this point, Tiffany is super excited because, you know, Kelly and Tiffany are closer than they are with the other girls. Tiffany says she wants to have another baby so she can be pregnant and do all of the mommy things and the pregnancy things with Kelly, her best friend. Now, if you can remember in the last episode, episode 9, Tiffany was scared about having another baby. But here, her best friend Kelly is having a baby, and she wants to have a baby and share in that experience and that joy with Kelly. So it was just a great day, a great night all around, celebrating Kelly, the baby, and Kelly's birthday. Now, after Kelly's birthday, we see Issa in her new office for her company that is just blowing up. And then we see Lawrence walk into the office. I'm like, what is like, these two just can't seem to get it right, but they can't seem to leave each other alone either. So Lawrence walks into Issa's new office and they start talking, and they start talking about the dynamic and the relationship. And then Lawrence asks Issa, do you want to try? And Issa says, I want to give it a try. And then they get back together. I mean, so I guess after all the years, 5 years, Issa and Lawrence finally get back together again. again, because, you know, they've broken up and gotten back together and broken up and gotten back together and did all of that stuff, but they got back together again. So I guess we found out it's Team Lawrence for Issa. And the relationship is going great. It's going well. Now, again, hopefully you have watched the series before you watch this review, because there are a few spoilers, but it's been a week. It's been a week, people. Now, the next scene that we see is the wedding scene. As soon as I saw this come up, I was like, Issa and Lawrence are getting married. And I'm sure everyone else, including you, thought the same thing. You see the wedding, you see the bridesmaids, you see the groom, you see the food and the band and everything. So naturally, I just assumed that Issa and Lawrence are getting married. But nope, it wasn't Issa and Lawrence. It was Molly and Torrin that got married. And I was so happy for that, because, you know, throughout this series, I don't know who had more heartbreaks and letdowns and breakups between Molly and Issa. Not that it was a competition, but I mean, Molly really struggled. She always wanted to get married. She always wanted to have kids. Like, she always wanted that life, but could never find anyone to have that life with. But now she does, and she gets married. And it's a beautiful wedding, and everyone is there, and Kelly is there, and she has a baby bump, and Tiffany is there, and she has a baby bump, and Lawrence and Issa are there as well, celebrating the happiness of Molly. And you know, when you have great friends in your life, supportive friends that are there with you when you are a good friend, and they're there with you when you're a bad friend, when you have great things that happen in your life, like you get married to the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams, it is only right that your friends are there with you to share in that happiness. Just like it's only right that your friends are there to share in the heartbreak, the letdown, the disappointments. That's what real friends do. They are there in the good times, and they are there in the bad times. And these friends, Tiffany, Kelly, Molly, and Issa, have all been there for each other in the good times and in the bad times. As the final episode wraps up, and as my review is wrapping up, we see Issa leaving her brand new office space, hopping into her Lexus, a beautiful, bad Lexus, driving down the interstate. And as she's driving past all of her past. Hopefully you got that. She drives past "We Got Y'all." That is now in her past. She drives past Rite Aid. That is now in her past. And hopefully you remember Issa and Lawrence had a huge fight inside Rite Aid. She drives past a man wearing a Best Buy shirt. That is now in her past. And hopefully you remember when Lawrence started working at Best Buy. She drives past the famous apartment complex, the Dunes, where her and Lawrence lived for like 3 or 4 years. She drives past that because that is now in her past. And she drives to a beautiful, looks like a condo, with Lawrence and his son Jai. And it just happens to be Issa's birthday all over again. And Lawrence and Issa and Jai are all together celebrating Issa's birthday, cutting birthday cake, and really being a family. And if you remember, Issa did not want to be a mother or play that role with Lawrence's son. But now we see Issa in that role of motherhood and enjoying the role and the new dynamic that she has and the new relationship that she has with Lawrence and his son. And just like Issa Rae said, the final episode was going to answer every single question. There would be no questions and no what ifs once you finish watching the final episode of Insecure. And she was absolutely correct. There were no questions left that I had. There were no what ifs that I had. There was nothing. And all of her friends, and especially Issa, everything turned out to be okay. Now, my own personal question is, do I keep HBO? Because literally, the only reason I had HBO was so I could watch Insecure. Do I keep HBO or do I cancel HBO? It's going to save me like $18. I don't know. What do you think? Are you keeping HBO or are you canceling HBO? Let's have the discussion in the comments down below. And if you have stayed with me this entire review, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. What are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button right now. Give me a thumbs up and let me know what you thought about the final episode of Insecure.
So it's